Nasa v'nishma. We tend to think we were born, we're here in this world, and we got to grit our teeth, put our nose to the grindstone, and somehow or other suffer through it, till in the end, in the next world, we'll be zocher to a blissful world. That is a mistake. It's a cardinal error. It's quite not true. The Mishnah tells us ha'olam hazeh, that this world, doima liproizda, is compared to a proizda, an antechamber, lifnei ha'olam haba. Just like an antechamber, before you go into the king's beautiful palace room, there's a waiting room. What's the purpose of a waiting room? When you come into a house, you never walk straight into the house. You have a little portico, you have a little porch. Even if you come into the house, you don't walk straight into the sitting room as a place. What's the place for? There's a mat there. You can clean your feet. You can adjust your tie. You can make sure that the beard or the hair is perfectly groomed before entering into the king's presence. In the same way, this world is not the world of hard work. It's not the world where we have to make it all with blood, sweat, tears, and toil. And then we're going to get reward because we resisted all the temptations. We worked very hard. It's not a healthy mindset. This world is a good world. This world, all we need to do is take a machine that is essentially all there. It's all inside of us. We're already fit and ready to enter into the king's presence. All we have to do is make sure, adjust our tie, make sure we don't get dirty over there in the waiting room because we're about to enter the king's presence. Brush off the dust. Keep making sure that we are in perfect shape so that when we enter into the king's presence, we are ro'oi to greet him. Hashem made us perfect. Elikim asa es ha'adam yashar. We have a heaven up here, light and a soul. And the body just keeps pulling us in different directions. We've got to make sure we keep our hands on the reins and we're brushing off any dusts that we accumulate constantly. And we're making sure that we are seeing the right things, we're seeing straight, so that when we enter into the king's presence, we don't go veer to the right or veer to the left or lose the door. We're ready to move in. We're preparing. It's a proizdar. That is such a perfect word. Rashi tells us on the Mishnah in Avos, a proizdar, a person just prepares himself. They get ready to enter into the king's presence. That's what we're doing. And therefore, we're already experiencing something of the excitement, delight, and bliss that is there in the actual king's chamber. We don't have to. This world, it's described by the Bali Musa as dark and prison-like and dank and challenging. It's the world of Nisayon. It's the world of Olam, where Hashem's presence is hidden. That may be true. But at the same time, the light at the end of the tunnel shines through into our existence now and illuminates it, and it could be enjoyable. It's supposed to be enjoyable. Lachazois b'nei Hashem. We are here to delight already in the presence of Hashem. There's a famous mashal, and it's all in the mind, it's all in the attitude. There's a famous mashal from the Dubna Maggid. And the Kotzker Rebbe used to maintain this was a very important, very beautiful mashal from the Dubna Maggid. And he talks about there was a fellow that arrived at a train station, and he went to his achsania, to his balhabos, to the person that was hosting him, and he realized that he'd left his suitcase in the train station, and so the balhabos said to one of the servants, "You run back down to the train station, pick up his valise. It's there. Obviously, he left it there in the waiting room while he was waiting for the carriage." The fellow went to the train station, looked around, and he found it. It described it exactly. It's a large black trunk-like box, and it's got a gold lock. And he went down there and he picked up there in the lost and found in the office the valise, and he comes back and he's holding it, and he's walking up the hill to the fellow's house, and he's puffing, panting, he's pushing it, it's a heavy piece. And as he walks in the door, the fellow's looking at him. He says, "You got the wrong valise." So he said, "What are you talking about?" "But this is exactly, it matches the exact specifications of what you said." So he said, "You're right, but you got the wrong valise. It's the right externally it looks the same, but it's not mine. Mine had only diamonds inside. It's very light. You put it on your shoulder, it's easy." And what this is telling us, what this mashal really is telling us, is it has a lot to do with the mindset and the attitude. It's all in the mind. I love to say over the story, the Muncie bus. Did I say it recently?
Yeah.
The paradigm shift.
With the father.
Yeah, that is such an important story. It's all in the mind. It's the way we look at it. We'll say it over again because we have to absorb this story. There's a Muncie bus service that travels from Manhattan to Muncie. There are many different buses that go back and forth. And there was a fellow putting a very long day's work. He took the last bus from 47th Street. It leaves at 47th and 5th. He took the last bus. I think it was like 7:45 or 8 o'clock. It was a hard work day. The people on that bus are fit to be tired. They're working very hard. They're coming home. And when they come home already, they don't get the benefit of seeing their kids already put to bed, the little ones, the big ones, whatever it is. And they're kind of like this group of people that are kind of resigned to it all. They're sitting on the bus, one's taking a newspaper, another guy's got his MP3, and another guy is just snoozing so he can catch a little bit of a nap before he comes home. And there's some women on the bus. The bus goes down Fifth Avenue and it makes a right at around 34th, and it goes into the tunnel. And at Port Authority there's another stop people get on. And there, a fellow got on the bus with 4 or 5 little kids. Gets on the bus and he sat right next to this fellow that had an empty seat next to him. The fellow sat over. He was a little, he was hoping he'll have an empty seat. Like you sit on the plane and you get a seat next to you that's empty. You're just like, Baruch Hashem. Fellow dumps himself in the seat next to him. Okay, that's bad enough. But his kids are jumping up and down the bus. They're pulling the mechitza. They're making such a hullabaloo. And he's thinking to himself, this guy next to me is a real zlob. What a joke. You've got your kids. Take care of them. Get up. Come on. You had the kids. It's your responsibility. Take care of them. They're running up and down the bus and making noise. And then they're pulling open the mechitza, and the women have to constantly close it. They're having a grand time. Anyway, he suffers through it during the tunnel, ride through the tunnel. About 5 minutes after the tunnel, they're almost at the turnpike, and he looks at the guy and he says to him, "Sir," he says, "I don't know you, and I imagine you had a hard day, but please, you're the father, could you look after your kids? I think they're making so much noise." The guy looked at him and he said, "You're probably right. I should look after the kids. But we're just coming back from Beth Israel Hospital, and they just lost their mother. And I think they don't know how to process it. I don't think I know how to process it either." The mind changed instantly. I can suffer through the ride so easily because he knows that this person's having such a hard day. Whatever he has pales into insignificance. The whole mind shifts. The idea of the story is, and this is so true, everything is in the mind. It's all in the mind. On a hot Shabbos morning in the blistering summer heat, I walk home sometimes from Or Sameach with my Bekische and my Streimel. And I've had this a couple of times. A convertible drives past with a young guy, his hair swaying in the wind, maybe with a girlfriend. And as they're driving past me, they kind of gawk this fellow who in the boiling hot sun is wearing a heavy fur hat and this long heavy black coat. And they think like, this is like, we're out to lunch, we're on the way to the beach. And I'm thinking to myself, Shabbos Kodesh, it's so wonderful. I don't feel the Streimel, I don't feel the Beksha. The funny thing is, the minute I walk into the house, it's cool, it's air conditioned, it's a machaya. All of a sudden, I take off my Streimel. I can't wear it. I'm ready to take off my Beksha. Why? Because in the street, I know I'm supposed to be walking home with my Streimel. It doesn't occur to me in any other way. There is no other way. I don't entertain any other way. So my mind has naturally adjusted to the reality. If we wouldn't have had air conditioning, we lived in the 20s, in the 30s, we can operate and function normally in a heated room in the middle of the summer, and we're absolutely at ease. The minute we have the creature comfort and we start indulging ourselves, it becomes intolerable. Once we create that paradigm shift in our mind that this is good, this is the way, not it's supposed to be, it's the best it could be. I'll share with you a story. This is an unbelievable story. There was a fellow, this fellow who lives in Chicago actually, told it over to a friend of mine. He worked in a summer camp in Russia. There's a Rabbi Reich that does amazing work there in Russia and lives in Kiev. I think he moved back to the States now, but for many years he lived there. And he ran summer camps and set up a whole network of schools that is operating today very, very successfully. And there was a boy in the school who was there for a few years. When he was 12 years old, before his bar mitzvah, he wanted very much to have a bris milah. Didn't have a bris milah. It was in grew up, his parents communists, Russians. And there was a fellow that's coming from the States who went around to do the bris milahs for anybody who needed. They did brisin. And he came to the shul. This kid was very excited to have a bris milah. He was 12 years old. He's going to get bar mitzvah. He's going to have his bris milah. But when the moel came, the anesthesiologist for some reason couldn't come. Give a local anesthesia. It's too painful. Kid's 12 years old. And they were going to postpone the bris. I'll do it next time when I come. The kid said, no way, no way, no way, no way. I'm having my bris milah. So they said to him, you're going to scream in pain. It's too painful. In the camp that summer, they taught the kids a song. Wie geht's sein Yid? It's a famous old Yiddish song. Sie geht's sein Yid. It's good to be a Yid. It's good. Sie geht's sein Yid. And they were very excited, and that was kind of the theme song of the camp. Anyway, the kid said, bring 4 kids, you'll hold me down, and I'll have my bris milah. They brought 4 friends, and he had his bris milah, and he was singing on the top of his lungs, wie geht's sein Yid? Didn't need any anesthesia. We look at Torah and mitzvahs as something that is onerous, ritualistic, restrictive, we're conditioned, society at large, the mindset that we grow up in is such that we look at it as a burden, as an avdus. It's a burden we'll embrace, it's a burden we'll accept. You know, there's going to be a next world. Some people are not even so sure that there is a next world, but maybe. So they want to hedge their bets. They don't want to get there and find out that they really messed up royally. So they'll do it. Some people do it with a little bit more strength of faith and belief and so on. But it's almost a little bit like gritting the teeth and accepting the challenges of 613 mitzvahs in order to achieve or attain the benefit of the world to come. That is such a messed up mindset. That is such a chaval. All this suffering for nothing. You're carrying this heavy suitcase. You're going to have to go back to the train station, drop it off. My suitcase is light. It's carrying diamonds. Because if we're able to create that shift of mindset and we realize it's all in the mind. I've seen people that are furious about something, angry about something, and then someone close to them walked in the room and all of a sudden their entire demeanor changes. Mamish. There was a guy here, Rabbi Greenspoon. He retired now. He learns in the Beis Medrash. He was a very big actuary in a big firm in New York. And he said he always wanted at every conference meeting, at every board meeting, he wanted there should be women in the room. I said, why? He said, because till the women walk in the room, the men are such animals. What comes out of their mouth, my goodness, it's like shumu shumayim, the curse words, the disgusting stuff that they talk about. All of a sudden, a woman walks in the room and they'll become gentlemen. So he really, he's always hoping there'll be women in the room. We're capable. We see it all the time. All of a sudden, someone's there, we're conscious. We change from, a person can change from a malach, from a galach, from a priest, to a malach, to a saint, in an instant. Now, what we need to do is, we need to create that, not just as an external change, flipping the switch in terms of mode of conduct. We're changing from short wave to long wave, whatever it is. We have to rewire our minds. Create that paradigm shift where we look at our existences from people as we are in a proizdar. We don't have to grit our teeth and sweat it out and we're in a labor camp, because at the end of the day we're going to go free. We'll have our ticket to freedom and we'll realize, we're going to get that payback. It's going to be good. Dividends. That is such a physical mindset. That's such a, like in America, work hard, play hard. What are the people working for? Working like crazy. So that they can have good weekends, good vacations. Working so that they could retire to a nice golf course community. Ultimately, it's a mindset, it's a concept of I'll suffer today what I need to suffer in order to enjoy the fruits of tomorrow. We're not suffering. We are delighting. Because the light is shining through. We're connected. If we're living for real, if we're living Yiddishkeit for real, really for real, every tefillah is a delight. I'll tell you, when you ponder the words, just ponder the words. After the Baruch Hu, we get into the higher worlds and the spheres, and we start dancing and singing with the malachim, and then we say, I have a Rabbi. It's so sweet. Every word is sweet. And then we could say the Shema. I'm all yours, Hashem. I'll serve you. You know what the sages tell us? There were people, with all your being, be ready to give up your life. Now we think if I have to give up my life, that is misery. That is terrible. Can you imagine all those Jews? Look at our history. They gave up their lives for their faith. If we're living for real, the sages tell us actually that if a person dies al Kiddush Hashem, they experience no pain. They're burnt at the stake, they experience no pain. How's that mean? How's that possible? I told you the story with Remendel Pabians. Remendel Pabians was the son of the Sfas Emes. Can you imagine? He was a very, very holy man. And when the Nazis marched through Poland, he was rounded up and taken to a death camp. He was online to be killed, and he was running ahead with all the Chassidim there, the people there. He was running, he was so excited. I'm able to give up my life, al Kiddush Hashem. A Nazi saw, screaming, order, order! Everybody has to march in formation. And this rabbi is running ahead. The Nazi took a kid, ripped a kid out, a little baby out of a mother's arms, who was also online to the gas chambers, and threw it right in front of him. Remendel picked up the child. And he said, look, look, look. What does this Nazi have against this innocent, pure, delightful child? Why does he hate this child that he throws him like that? He wants to kill him. What bothers him? What did the child do to him? He said, we Yidden, we're like the sun. We bring light to the world. You look up at the sun, it's blinding. You can't look at it. A Yid's light is blinding. The sun doesn't have to prove to anybody he's the sun. He's the sun because nobody could look at it. We Yidden are HaKadosh Baruch Hu's chosen people. At that point where he's about to be killed brutally in a gas chamber. And he gave the child back and he walked, infusing such ahava and simcha b'chol nafshcha. We serve Hashem b'chol nafshcha. Whatever you want, Hashem, we're here for you. There was a great, great Yid called the Yisod HaAvodah, the first Slonim Rebbe. And he was always in a state of joy, serving Hashem. Once he didn't feel joy. He was wondering, why am I not feeling joy? What's my problem? And he said, you know what's my problem? I'm worried that in the next world I'm going to be punished. See, we live with the end of the tunnel suffusing our existence. And because we are pessimistic, down on ourselves, see all our foibles, we think we're going to be doomed and damned. So we're already living in that mindset of fear and futility. We're so afraid of being judged for all our misdemeanors and for all our felonies and for all our mistakes. It's terrible. It's heresy. It's heresy. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves us. For a moment, the Yisod HaAvodah felt that. And he sees, I'm not joyous. Why am I not joyous? It must be I'm not joyous because I'm afraid of my punishment in the world to come. He said, Hashem, you love me. If you want me to go into Gehenna, I'll dance in there, whatever you want. I'm here for you. And after that, he felt joy. He says, we only don't feel joy because we're in a state of resistance and fear. But if we're in Hashem's arms and we're in Hashem's hands and we're one with Him, it's all good. It's all good. Hashem loves us. We make mistakes. We're human. For sure we're going to make mistakes. We're trying to rectify. We're trying to repair. We're trying to be one with you. We're coming home. Which parent doesn't delight when a child walks in the door? It's a good world. We have to change our mindset. Yiddishkeit is enjoyable. Life is enjoyable. Life is a celebration. A life with spiritual pleasure. And when we don't feel it, we know that why we're not feeling it is because there's an element of disconnect, and we need to just reconnect. And if mitzvahs are onerous and we're sweating, then we have to change our mindset. It's like that in any relationship. I want to have a relationship with someone. Someone gets married. They like freezing cold. They like it really, air conditioning. And their spouse likes it boiling hot. Likes it warm. Always cold. She's always cold. They like to go to bed early. Their spouse likes to go to bed late. They like to keep everything clean, throw everything out. The spouse likes to hoard everything. Like, everything is archived, and it's just like, why such a mess? Always everything has to be kept. They like to save every penny. A spouse likes to spend. What's the money here for? You know what you do? You say, you know what? You like it hot? Okay. I'm happy that it's hot for you. You come inside. I'm happy that it's hot for you. And the mindset shifts. And when the mindset shifts and we start delighting that the other person is spending money, instead of going, what are you wasting money on? Why are you buying that nice clothes, that nice dress? I'm happy. Because I'm you. When the mind shifts, it's incredibly challenging, obviously, to shift the mind into someone else's zone. We didn't shift into Hashem's zone. We want what Hashem wants. Once we shift what Hashem wants, it actually becomes a delight. We could do something for Hashem. We could get out of bed. We could serve Him. And our job is, the most important thing is to change the mindset. Because once we've got a different paradigm, once we're seeing things from a different frame, from Hashem's frame, it becomes so much easier. That's what the Mishnah says. Batel ritzoincha mipnei ritzoinoi. Aseh ritzoincha ritzoinoi. Make your will His will. And then His will become your will. It's a psychological reality. The sages of the Mishnah understood it all. Anyway, we're preparing for Shavuos. We're preparing for Kabbalah Satorah. We don't look at it as if we're, it's an all-night learning. It's about Torah. I feel so inadequate. It's so hard, so challenging. It's a delight. Tomorrow in Mitzvah, we will continue this theme as we move forward a little bit, and we talk about the Yom HaMeyuchas, the second day of Sivan, big day when Hashem proposed. Chaim, you want to ask something? I'm sorry.
What happened to the son of the Sasanis? Did he survive?
No.
So how did they know the story?
Kiddush Hashem. Huh?
How did they?
Someone who was there, so I set it up.
From the
one of the
living
people
one.
who survived. Yeah. With Mendel Pavians. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. The Mesiras Nefesh, the Gerach Hasidim, there was a young Gerach Hasid who was about Tshuva, became religious around his bar mitzvah. His name was Matisyahu Gelman, and he became the most inspired Gerach Hasid. And he, in the Warsaw ghetto, they were called Matisyahu-nikas. They had little bati midrashim where they kept on learning. The flames were dancing from house to house. They were learning under such deprived circumstances with such joy. Unbelievable. We Jews are capable of great stuff. great stuff, because we are great. It's a reflection of who we are. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Okay. We forgot the